Good afternoon, everyone. This is Katie Novotny calling in from Premier Marketing. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to join us today. Today, we're going to actually take a different avenue than we usually do regarding our long-term care products. We are thrilled to have Megan and Amanda from the long-term care department on sales and marketing for the traditional products. As some of you know, we have a broader range of solutions for long-term care. However, this might just kind of pique some interest on not only Mutual of Omaha, but maybe how we could possibly market and get the word out to our clients regarding trying to make a plan. So with that, Amanda, are you ready to take it away?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Katie, and good afternoon, everyone. I just want to take a moment just to thank all of you for dialing in and taking the time out of your day to hear from Mutual of Omaha on such a very important topic of long-term care insurance. As Katie said, my name is Amanda Blackburn. I am a long-term care sales director, and joining me on today's call is Megan Parham. Megan is our long-term care marketing manager. We'd like to give a shout out to Premier Marketing for having us on today's call. I'm here today to tell you that there has never been a better time than now to be discussing long-term care with your clients. Given our current environment and the light that has been shining on facility care today, this has created an opportunity for you as a producer to educate people on the importance of planning for a long-term care event. Do you know that people will spend weeks, if not months, planning for a vacation? People have spent years contributing to their retirement plans, and one long-term care event can wipe all of that planning away in a very short period of time. So by helping secure a long-term care plan with your clients, you can be rest assured they can continue on a path of peace of mind for their future years. It is likely that everyone on today's call has either been directly impacted or knows someone who has been impacted by long-term care experience. I know personally for me, I grew up on a farm in Southwest Iowa, and my dad farmed for years and eventually ended up getting out of the farming business and going to work for a company. My parents lived paycheck to paycheck, and unfortunately, they never planned for long-term care. Even with my time in at Mutual of Omaha, which is well over 20 years, I could not get them to spend money on a policy. It wasn't until my dad found out that he had cancer and we had to live through that experience with him that he said to me, please get coverage for your mom. We tried, but unfortunately, her health prevented her from being able to take out a long-term care policy. I wanted to share this with you to tell you how important it truly is for you to be having these conversations. I understand they're not fun to have, but if you are not having them with your clients, I can guarantee you they are hearing about long-term care in the news or reading about long-term care on the internet, and eventually they will be approached by someone who they may consider taking coverage out with. So you really don't want to miss out on that opportunity for them to take that coverage out with you. This is where you can make the most impact, helping people understand they may not always have the option to purchase traditional coverage. Purchasing young can help them get in at an affordable price point that allows them to qualify for coverage with no health concerns. So with that, the advantage I see that you guys have today that has not always been there is the awareness that has been drawn to long-term care publicly like it is today. Given the hype that has been created around facilities, you most likely have not been able to turn on the TV or listen to a newscast without hearing about the number of deaths in a facility. People want to remain at home as long as possible, and we have a product that will help them do that. We are not going to dive into product details today. We have had previous webinars with Premier and we'll continue to do webinars in the future. If you do have any questions on our product after this webinar, please reach out to Premier and they can get anything that you need or help direct you to the right people at Mutual to help with that. This slide speaks to our commitment to the long-term care industry. We all know commitment is demonstrated through action. We are the only carrier offering a full suite of long-term care planning solutions. We have our traditional long-term care product, we have our life with long-term care rider, and we have our life with chronic illness rider. We're also evaluating the hybrid space. You have likely seen hybrid carriers make product updates and even increase their rates. Mutual of Omaha is evaluating if we can offer a product that meets the consumer needs and can be priced to work for the consumer and the company. With Mutual of Omaha, you are getting a company who has an established, strong claims paying history. We continue to monitor all blocks of business and make decisions that will keep us in the business for the long term. We made a business decision that last year we needed to file for a new business rate adjustment. Again, this is on our new business, not existing blocks of business. Most states have been rolled out and will continue to communicate on these announcements. When I talk about commitment is demonstrated by action, a couple things I wanted to point out that we did over this last year. Given our current environment and having to go through the pandemic, we know that there was a period of time, and there still is, where not everybody is comfortable with having someone come into their home. So it doesn't work in all cases, but we have opened up a virtual face-to-face environment in certain situations where our underwriters will be able to offer that out if it makes sense. So we are continuing to find ways to simplify the long-term care insurance business, and we'll continue to make those commitments to our customers as long as we can. COVID, there was an impact from an underwriting perspective, and we are evaluating our guidelines on a constant basis. And so if you send something in underwriting right now, it's 3 months after full recovery and no residuals. And then, as I mentioned, we'll talk a little bit more about the new business rate increase, but I wanted to share with you this slide just to kind of give you a glance into how the rating agencies have rated us, including AM Best with an A+ superior rating, Moody's Investor Services with an A1 good rating, and our Standard & Poor with an A+ strong rating. So again, I've talked about our financial strength, but the financial strength of the company is something you don't need to be concerned about. I like to share, because I'm getting this question a lot lately, but how is Mutual of Omaha positioned given our current pandemic environment? And when I get that question, I just like to remind people that given an environment where there is so much uncertainty, one thing is certain: Mutual of Omaha is positioned to weather the storm. We endured the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and even the recent 2008 financial crisis. So reminding people of this does offer some perspective. I think it's also important that you know one of our greatest advantages is our mutual corporate form. Being a mutual company uniquely positions us to focus solely on the long-term care needs of our customers and not the short-term demands of the stock market. These are just a few examples of many significant external events that have posed challenges on our economy and on our business. And through it all, we have stood strong and we continue to serve our customers. So I hope this message just brings you the certainty and confidence in our position as a company. I mentioned the new business rate adjustment. I wanted to just point out it was last September when we kicked off a new business rate adjustment announcement, letting you know of the states impacted. It's important that you know this is an adjustment to the rate you are quoting on new sales. This is not an in-force rate adjustment. It's likely clients are not keeping up with which carriers are making rate changes and product updates, but it is important for you to be aware and understand the carrier's products so that you can continue to offer an affordable solution for your clients. We have not seen a negative impact to sales due to this. People are seeing it's necessary for carriers, and is at the heart of really what we're doing and what we're offering to be here for the long term. A solution that provides a consumer's value come claim time, and they see that value. The product updates that we made were to change some of the partner allowances. So we did adjust the both partners issued from 30% down to 15%, our one partner insured allowance down to 5%, and then we did adjust our cash offering to 25% of the home healthcare benefit up to a max of $2,000 across both products. Again, that's in effect for those states that have approved and we've announced on, and then other states will continue to roll out on. Please keep in mind the flexibility of our product design is what helps us win in the traditional long-term care space. So typical shelf life of a product is usually 3 to 4 years. We've had our product out there for 10 plus years. It used to be that a policy with 5% inflation and all of the higher end benefit options, that was really that Cadillac policy that people were wanting to take out. Then as time progressed, people realized I don't need that level of coverage, but some coverage is better than no coverage. We've seen 3% compound lifetime sold in a majority of policies over the last several years. I just like to point out that as you're quoting Mutual of Omaha moving forward, do not overlook the flexibility with the multiple inflation options that we have and the duration options we provide. So that 20-year, 15-year, and 10-year duration really kind of hone into how much you can save a consumer on their premium should you drop down to those versus have a lifetime. I think you'll really see the value of the product at a price point that's affordable. Those are just a few tips I've been hearing from those in the field selling the product, and wanted to share that with you guys as well. This slide, I wanted to share with you the ways that you can quote the Mutual of Omaha product. We have 3 software options. I highly recommend downloading the Mutual Care Solutions software from our SPA page. SPA is Sales Professional Access. If you are contracted with a production number, you can access this site and download the software. You should also consider downloading our Quotes on the Go app to your iPhone or Android phone. You can search Sales Professionals and install the app, and this will allow you to quote anywhere, anytime. And then playing around with the software can also help you learn the ins and outs of our product. So I encourage you to do that. It's also very user-friendly. You can update the software without having to re-download it right there from the software itself. And you can also access our agent and underwriting guide from the software. Once you have quoted Mutual of Omaha, you have 3 ways you can write us. Our product, you can write it either on a paper application, you can do a fillable PDF with a e-signature option, or you can do our e-app. There really are a lot of advantages to utilizing an e-app. It helps with good order applications, and it's going to move through the entire sales and new business process faster than if you would have written a paper app. So you can access our e-app on SPA once registered. We have a sandbox you can play in prior to going live in front of a client. I encourage you to do that. With that, I wanted to just point out that we have a phenomenal marketing team that has prepared best-in-class training and support to help you understand the features within our product, and it's really what sets us apart from our competition. The training materials, like what you will see today, will help you be prepared to discuss the differences with your clients. We've created a roadmap for you to use in the field. We believe it will help you reach more people and will help you be successful in getting more coverage into more people's homes. And so with that, I would like to go ahead and turn the slides over to Megan to walk through the sales and marketing process with you. Megan?
Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate it. So today, Amanda, you mentioned a roadmap, and that's exactly what we'll be covering. We've at Mutual of Omaha identified the 6 steps to the sales and marketing process for long-term care insurance. And before we dive into step 1, let's go back a little bit to before you start, which is really understanding the need for long-term care insurance. Everyone's familiar with the statistic of 70% of people who reach age 65 will need long-term care services. But really, it's important to remember that when most people think of long-term care, they think of a nursing home, but it's not a place. And it is an event, and it's an event that people need to plan for. By having long-term care insurance, you can help your clients protect their assets, maintain their independence, and really have more control of their finances and their future. But let's go ahead and go into step 1, which is learning the product. So here on this slide, we have several pieces identified that are great to familiarize yourself with the basics of long-term care and our solutions. So here on the top right-hand side of your screen, there's the cost of care study. So the cost of long-term care services are increasing year over year. And this brochure identifies all of the cost of services by state. So it really gives more detail into the cost of home health care, LPNs, that's skilled nursing care, as well as assisted living and nursing home, so that you can understand what the cost is in your client's state. And then that can help inform what kind of policy to tailor. The portfolio overview on the left-hand part of the screen is a very high-level apples-to-apples producer piece that gives the comparison between Mutual Care Custom and the Mutual Care Secure solution. The product guide is a very in-depth product overview. It breaks down the benefits, any specializations between the 2 different products, and it's in a pretty handy portable size. So if you decide to get a print copy, it is a smaller size that can be easily thrown into a briefcase and travel with you. And it is also downloadable in PDF format. The last piece here on this slide is the agent tax guide. So this focuses on the inherent tax savings standalone long-term care insurance policies can provide. By looking at these pieces, also available on Sales Professional Access, it lays a great foundation into the next slide, which is being able to go through different sales ideas. So we have quick hits, one-page flyers that provide tips for discussing different product features with your clients, being able to very easily explain a particular benefit and how to position that with the client. The sales ideas can range between care coordination, cash benefit, calendar day elimination, home health care, inflation protection, and monthly benefits. We continue to add to these pieces on an ongoing basis, but all the most recent ones are also available on Sales Professional Access. The next thing I want to talk to you about is our claim stories. These are relatively new, but they're really, really impactful. Recently, our sales and marketing team aligned with our claims leadership to be able to discuss real cases, real claims, and phone calls into Mutual of Omaha. And we're able to gather information about what the claims process is like for long-term care here at Mutual, as well as what the product benefits are. For example, so let's talk about Marilyn. We have 4 different people identified here. Marilyn actually occurred during the COVID pandemic. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. There we go. So Marilyn got her knee replaced, and COVID hit, and she used her policy rather than being admitted into an assisted living facility for a long-term rehabilitation. She was able to pivot very quickly and get home health care services for a longer period of time. We also have Thomas, he was given a life expectancy of 6 months, and he was able to tap into his long-term care insurance policy to have really, really great end of life care for his family. So it walks through those scenarios, really being able to to paint a picture of how important long-term care insurance is for clients and what that process is. So another piece here, if you're newer to long-term care insurance, is that we have 2 very quick hit high-level training videos. The first of which is part 1, Let's Begin the Conversation. It's about 5 minutes long, and it teaches you about the basics of long-term care insurance, as well as gives a typical buyer profile and breaks down a little bit of the high level of the benefits. And then part 2 here on the right-hand side of the screen is the mutual care solution. More details about 2 standalone policies in the portfolio, as well as ways to position it. We continue to add, just like the sales ideas, continue to add additional training videos to the series, and those will all be located on Sales Professional Access. So that's some pieces that we have to help you familiarize yourself with the product. And then we also have our competitive brochure, how we stack up to the competition. It opens up into different ways that Mutual of Omaha comes back on top, talking about that history of strength, security, and stability. And then we also have a little bit of a grid here, which is pictured on the screen, which gives Mutual of Omaha solutions compared apples to other carriers in the industry, really showing another way in which Mutual of Omaha comes out on top, given our product benefits. It's a great piece to familiarize yourself with, and we're going to be launching an updated one here in April. So step 2 is finding the people to talk to. So let's go to the next slide here and talk about our Hearts and Minds brochure. So this piece was conducted internally, where we actually reached out to a lot of existing policyholders to be able to more thoroughly provide a profile of a typical buyer, which is not all inclusive, but it's a great typical profile, as well as the types of information about why some people buy long-term care insurance and why they don't. So as it explains, the way in which your mind as well as your heart plays into the decision-making process. It's a great way to identify some ways to start the conversation, and that is available on Sales Professional Access. We also have a prospecting letter, which is customizable, which you can send out to your existing base of clients, but really tap into your existing base. Reach out to centers of influence, civic organizations. We do have an association group discount, which is 5%. And then we also have several customizable pieces from that aspect. So really finding the people to talk to is first consult the Hearts and Minds brochure, and then tap into your existing client base. All right, step 3 is addressing the need. This is probably the most important step and my favorite. So here on this slide, we have a lot of consumer approved content that are great ways to start the conversation. The first of which I want to make sure that everyone takes away from this conversation is our consumer brochure. The consumer video is listed on a one-page flyer that has different variances on state, but it really is a quick hit 3-minute video that you can send to your clients through an email, a hyperlink to YouTube, or you can even text to the individual if you have that relationship. But it really explores what people feel, how they feel they need to protect and discuss for long-term care insurance. Go ahead, chime in, Amanda, if you have additional information to add.
Thank you very much. I just thought I would share with the group here. I'm receiving a lot of feedback from our distribution. In fact, I just got a call earlier today from an agent saying, hey, can you get me this flyer? What's working for people out there is that they are basically what's happening is they are maybe having another product sale. It could be MedSup, it could be Life, any other product. And what they're doing is they're leaving this flyer behind and saying, hey, listen to this video. It's not product specific, but it really addresses a need for a long-term care product. And then call me if you're interested in setting up an appointment. So they're getting a lot of appointment leads just by sharing this video, or even on sales. If they've made a long-term care sale, they're leaving this behind and saying, share with your family and friends and have them reach out to me to schedule an appointment. So I just thought I'd throw out there that that's how it's working for other people. And I encourage you to do the same thing if you receive this flyer and you think it's an opportunity for you. Thanks,
Thank you
Megan.
so much, Amanda. That's so true. It's a great use case for it. It really is a quick hit. Copy and paste the hyperlink and go from there. It is very great. It's only 3 minutes long, and everyone has time to be able to review that. Another thing that you can dial into the need for long-term care insurance, depending on your client, is our trifold brochures. So these are customizable that you can add your unique contact information in. And we cover a variety of topics for the cost of waiting for purchasing long-term care insurance, both from the premium being cheaper when you're younger versus being able to qualify now rather than later. We have inflation protection specific trifold brochures, the partnership qualification, protecting assets, and then the cash and reimbursement benefit. These are all available for you to be able to share with your clients and also be able to add your contact information as well. And so we also have a PowerPoint presentation, which is fairly high level, but is a great way to kind of segue into the conversation of long-term care. But it is a great way to be able to present to a seminar, or maybe there's an association group you're meeting with, and it explains what long-term care is, the cost of services, and why a policy is a good solution for your overall plan. And then lastly is our tax guides. So earlier I mentioned that agent-facing brochure that goes over all of the inherent tax advantages. These are consumer-approved pieces that discuss the tax advantages of purchasing long-term care insurance for individuals as well as business owners. All right, so let's move on to step 4, which is offering a solution. So when you learn about the product, you understand that long-term care services are very expensive. And it's important to have that conversation with your clients. So we do have a cost of care calculator. We have 2 different versions of which, the first of which is on Sales Professional Access, which is something that you can access and use to be able to gather some basic information in addition to our brochure. But then we also have a consumer-facing calculator available on mutualofomaha.com. This is a great way for you to have a digital meeting or an interactive meeting with your client to really be able to plug in unique information. So for example, say you reside in the state of Nebraska and you want to project what the cost of services will be per year 25 years from now with a 3% inflation. You can plug all that information in on the calculator and show a visual representation of what your client can expect an assisted living facility to cost each year, or what the cost of a home healthcare aid will be each year. It's a great planning tool, which then can help you tailor the policy, which will be displayed on our point of sale brochures. We have 2 different versions, one of which is the Mutual Care Secure and the custom solution. But it's a great leave behind piece, or as you just initiate the conversation with your client, to share that with them. I won't talk too much about the mobile solutions, but because Amanda mentioned, but we do have a mobile quote solution on the go. The next step is our partnership overview. So there are some partnership qualified long-term, depending on your state, and inflation protection. So it provides information to structure a policy that is partnership qualified as well. We have a dedicated page to that on Sales Professional Access under long-term care to learn more information, which also links this brochure. The next thing I think is important to be able to present to your clients whenever you're having the long-term care conversation and offering a solution is reiterating Mutual of Omaha's claim statistics and our strengths. It's a very high-level overview piece of what we've seen as far as most common statistics and our claims paying ability regarding claims. Again, it's super high level. It was updated in 2019, but it goes through kind of what we've seen as far as what are the most common reasons folks go on claim. And it's a great way to kind of bookend the conversation when you offer a solution. All right, so step 5 is completing the application. And again, I won't spend too much time going through some of our application specifics, but field underwriting is something that I think that we should discuss. So we, just like the product guide, we have a mobile underwriting guide that includes build charts and undesirable health conditions and medications, which is great to bookmark while field underwriting. We also have several health questionnaires that allow you to be proactive by providing information underwriting may need to make a decision whenever there's a certain condition. So for example, we have drug and alcohol questionnaires, tobacco, cognitive, diabetes, arthritis, and COPD. So if your client has one of these conditions, it's great to fill out this questionnaire and submit it along with your application, either as an attachment or in the paper application, whichever version you choose. It really speeds up the underwriting process by more thoroughly painting the picture of your client's overall health. The next step here is our EAP and next steps flyer. So Amanda went through our FAQ and our EAP quick start guide if you're not familiar with it, but something that we always encourage you to share whenever you do submit an application is our next steps flyer. It highlights what applicants can expect during the underwriting process. And so to set expectations with, if you're over 65 and you have favorable medical records, this is the next step for your health interview. Being able to have that line of sight with your clients so that they know the different phases in the underwriting process help facilitate some of those phone calls. So that's step 5, but let's move on to step 6, which is assisting with claims. So the application is submitted and issued, you have a very happy client. And it may be years down the road before you have a client who makes a claim, but when the time comes, we have the materials you need. The agent is oftentimes the first point of contact when the need for long-term care services arise, and Mutual of Omaha is still here to help you when that happens. The first piece here, your role in the LTC claims process helps you, the agent, understand what you should do when you learn that your client needs to make a claim. We also have a brochure for consumers, which is how your policy works, outlining how the policy works, walking through the claims process so that your client knows what to expect. This is something you can share with your client whenever there is a policy issued, but it's also great to send whenever that first phone call happens to reiterate. And then lastly, we have our Promises Kept trifold brochure. It once again highlights our claims paying history and reassures clients that we will keep our promises to be here when they need us most when it comes to claim time. So I went through a lot of information today, and there's a lot of, this is just a few of the materials we have. We have more, but we do have a sales and marketing process digital brochure, which we will share with you, which goes over each of these steps. You can save it on your desktop to be able to know what pieces we have available to you as you go through a long-term care conversation, but we encourage you to download it and keep it. Again, this is a lot of information, but we've learned that that this is a lot of information that sometimes things get oversighted. So appreciate everyone hopping on the line to be able to discuss the sales process. But just a few things to keep in mind as we move into 2021. We are going to keep developing new sales ideas. So being able to talk specifically about how to position certain product benefits to your clients. We are going to be updating our cost of care services numbers here within the next few months, actually. And then we also are working on new social media content. So Mutual of Omaha is really taking a big dive into social media so that you can have content that you can share to clients to help start the conversation. So please look for that content in Express to learn more throughout 2021. But that's all I have today. Amanda, unless you have anything else to add regarding the steps in the process.
No, thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you giving that overview. I'll just point out, as you mentioned, the agent product and underwriting guide. If you as an agent are out there and have downloaded our Mutual Care Solutions software, you will see on the top portion of the software that you can actually click on our guides directly from the software. So it just makes your life a little bit easier with not having to go into a secured login and download and find that when you are out quoting. So I just thought I'd point that out. But other than that, I'd like to turn it back over to Katie and see if there is any questions we want to go over.
Well, thank you guys so much. I wanted to follow up here. Two things, I actually just got two texts. One was the consumer video. It is via link, which was the first question. And the second question following that is, are people utilizing it via email, social media, or is it just a leave behind?
Sure, great questions. Megan, chime in if I miss anything here, but what we have developed is an actual PDF flyer that has interactive links. So what's nice about that is that you can attach that PDF to all your emails. People put the links, they'll take and put the interactive links in their signature line. The key thing to remember is that we have two different links because depending on which states have approved what content, there was a need. You guys probably know that anytime you have anything consumer approved, everything has to be filed and approved with the states. And so we want to make sure that we're providing a link to what states have approved. So again, it's a PDF flyer. It can be attached to emails. It can be left a printed, you can order printed copies and leave it as a leave behind when you're out at appointments. And Megan, can you address the social media piece of it? Are they able to share that on social media as well?
Great point. We don't have any kind of approved social media to be able to share it. However, I will say that the actual video itself is approved for consumer use. We are developing a supplemental caption as well as image for you to be able to use on social media that will launch later this year. But the video link itself and the video itself is really the only approved content. So it's best to send them to them directly. And we will have a very specific social media post that you will be able to share without any changes in the very near future.
Very good. Thank you, Megan. And as soon as they click on that link, it takes them, whether they click in the PDF or they've copied and pasted into their email, that link will take them directly to the approved video to begin watching, correct?
That is correct. And we have it available on YouTube. Later this year, we're going to open it up to additional channels as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Does that answer the question, Katie, or is there additional
I think that, yeah, I just got, nope, got the, yeah, it's answered. Another question I see that's been typed in is, do we have any specific or product-specific training? Can we answer that both on a consumer side regarding webinars or presentation, and then also as for the agent, yes, we do. We actually did one with Amanda, what was that, about 2 weeks ago? And but I would be happy to send that to you, JC. But regarding any kind of other things that we could use in order to educate the consumer, do we have anything to kind of go over that?
Yep, that's
sure.
A great question. Oh, go ahead, Megan. I don't want to.
No, go. Please go ahead.
There you go. So Megan had covered step 3, address the need, and pointed out a couple of the approved consumer things that we do have. We have a Protecting Your Future PowerPoint presentation, which explains, what long-term care is, the cost of services, and why a long-term care policy may be a good solution. So besides the consumer approved video, the PowerPoint, we have the tax guides that can be used, and the trifold brochures. So all of those are resources to be able to allow an agent to use directly with the consumer as they're providing that education. Does that answer your question?
I will add one more thing is even the consumer facing point of sale brochures, those are also that, they break things down in a very easy to understand, comprehensive way that can also help in educating a client as well. Those are kind of more in the offering the solution section of the steps, but those are a great thing to do to be able to kind of talk more about product benefits. And Katie, just really fast, when you mentioned, product training, if you want to learn more about long-term care insurance, if we could just back up a little bit to go over, I think it was step 2 here, a little bit more, excuse me, step 1, one more. There we go. We do have training videos here. So Katie, those are available on Sales Professional Access. I can follow up with you, but there are very high level videos too that can help you learn more about the product at a high level as well.
Those are perfect. Yes, absolutely. And if anyone out there, once you receive our email, including the webinar today and some marketing materials, if this is something that you want to go over, you want these videos, just let me know that. Just respond to my email, and that email should be ready tomorrow, just so if anybody needs to reach out, you're more than welcome, and we can always go through this additional information. One last question I see here is co-branding opportunities. Are there anything that have co-branding opportunities regarding, it says promotion of myself and my business along with Mutual of Omaha?
Great. I would first start off with, we're always considering them on an ad hoc basis. So please, if you have an idea, please reach out to me. We do have different co-branding guidelines, but those customizable brochures are a great place to start, to be able to add your unique contact information as well as have the Mutual of Omaha brand as well present. Again, those are trifold brochures approved for consumer use. Those are a great place to start for any co-branding opportunities.
Perfect. Well, Amanda and Megan, I don't see any other questions. You guys just did such a great job. We answered everything along the way. So if there are any additional questions, as always, please feel free to give us a call here at Premier. We're more than happy to help. Or as you get our emails, if there is additional information, send an email. We're happy to communicate as well that way. And if we don't know the answer, I'm sure these two gals would be more than happy to help us out. So Absolutely. With that, I want to thank everyone, and Megan and Amanda, thank you again for joining us today. This was amazing. And for everyone else out there, have a great afternoon, and we look forward to working together.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Katie. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye.